Hey, what's going on, guys? Global 5 here. We're going to be doing a deck profile today, kind of an updated deck profile. About a year and a half ago, I did a Bunny Girl Senpai deck profile for my deck. Since then, we had a new set come out, and I never actually updated a deck tech for that, so we're going to go ahead and rectify that today. I know this video is a little late. I said we're going to try to do a deck profile a month, and we skipped February. But here we are in March of 2021. We got some hopefully exciting things on the channel happening that we'll go into in another video. So keep your eyes open for that. But without further ado, we're going to go right into this video. The deck is not the meta deck. It does have elements of what people are playing in the meta deck. But for my deck, I chose to focus more on Mai herself because she is one of my top waifus. So do keep that in mind. You know, this can be modified to be a little more competitive. However, I do want to say that it does play very well. It does have all the merits of a very good deck. So without further ado, we'll go into the zeros here. Starting off, this card is a Nautica, not a Mai, so we're already doing good on that front. On your turn, this card gains an additional 1k, so it is 3k on your turn, and then it does have the mill runner effect. So at the beginning of the opponent's attack phase, you can mill a card. If it's a traded character, you can then move this to an empty front row slot on your board. Very good card. It can take out creatures the opponent has, and also potentially plus you by running away from threats if your opponent either can't field cards to match or exceed its power in all three lanes, or can't field things in all three lanes. So plussing zeros are very good. So this card definitely a 4 of for this set. The next card also fulfills a function of trying to help you plus at 0 while also being aggressive. That is this Mai here. What this card does is on play, you mill the top 2 cards of your deck. For each level 1 or higher card that is milled, it gains an additional 1k. So this could be a 4k on attack if you mill 2 high level cards. The other effect is a clean cut effect. So when the battle opponent of this card becomes reversed, you can choose another one of your characters, rest them, and then move them to an empty back row slot. Obviously, in Weiss, do as much as you can. So if you can only rest and then not move to the back, that's fine. But you know, this card will allow you to do certain things at 0, like recur effects, or just help you plus. Very good card, especially being 4k on play. Makes it more likely than not that it's going to get its reverse. Very strong. The next card is a card that you would like to clean cut, potentially if you can. This Mai, it's a 500 power on reverse Rize. A Rize type effect, in this case on reverse, is you look it up to the top 3 cards of your deck, take a certain traded character, in this case Adolescent, add it to hand, and then discard. It does have the downside if you reveal no Adolescent character, you still have to discard, which is unfortunate. But it's a good way to mill your deck early, good way to hand fix. The other thing that this card does is when it goes to the graveyard, you take a 3/2 Mai, which is the finishing combo in this deck, and you can add it to memory. Memory compression became a actual tool for this deck once the second set released. So we do try to maximize that. You put about 2 of the finisher in memory. Very rarely will you want to put 3 up there. But about 2 is the standard, since the ways to pull it from memory are very limited. But this card, you can front into something bigger, get the Rize effect, do the clean cut, rest it, move it back, and then get another Rize effect on a later turn, which is really good. Or, you know, if you can't move it back, get one on the opponent's turn, which sometimes helps you just mill through clean damage. So this card's very good, particularly with the clean cut that they added in the new set, on top of adding the memory compression. The next card we have here is a Brainstorm. Again, like I said, this is a my focus deck. So you have the option of either playing the Shoko Brainstorm from set 1 or this my. They are both search brainstorms. Pay 1, tap self, look at reveal top 4, hit a climax, search out a character. The Shoko automatically gives 500, whereas this card requires 3 cards in memory before you can give 500. So that is considered worse than the Shoko for obvious reasons. However, because it's my, and we do look at trying to get about 3 memory by the time we hit level 1 in this deck, you can still do it. It's just not as readily available as that Brainstorm provides. Next card that we're playing 3 copies of is this my here. On reverse, you can pay 1, pitch 1, send this to memory to salvage. It's really good with the Rize because you'll be able to fill your graveyard and hopefully get cards that you're looking to salvage off it. Goes to memory, which is good. We get that compression, we get that memory condition, which we'll see on a couple of cards. And yeah, it's just an overall good card. We took out the drop search, the Shoko drop search from set 1 for this card. Just trying to get that memory compression. It also does give us graveyard access. Since your Brainstorm searches, we do want to be sure that we can have access to the graveyard, particularly before level 1. Even though the level 1 combo does salvage, if any of our level 1 combo get there, this card will allow us to get it. So that's very good. The last 0 I'm playing is this Kaede. This is just a tech card. On play, you can pay 1, discard a Climax card to salvage a Climax from your graveyard. So this deck doesn't play any ways to grab Climaxes, such as gates. So having this will allow you to turn the door that we're playing for level 3 into the choice we're playing for level 1. Just allowing you to consistently get your combo off is very good. So attacking one of these, if you have it in your set, is probably recommended. If you're playing gates, there's a theory that you don't need to play this, but I tend to play Climax Swappers just in case. The other effect it has is you can rest 2 of your characters to pump 2k power somewhere. I don't know if I've ever used the effect. However, your early play is very small in Albuto. So if you've played this card and you don't need to brainstorm or anything, you just want to rest and give power, 2k is not insignificant, particularly when your early plays is small, as we have in this set. So definitely not a throwaway effect, as it's attached to a very good first effect. The level 1 Climax combo is here, that we've mentioned briefly. It is on a choice. Choice Climax, if you're unaware. If this card is triggered, you can choose a character in your graveyard with a soul trigger icon and either stock it or add it to hand. It's very good. It's very plussing. It helps you generate stock if you need that, which some things in this deck do require stock. So that is a very good application of it. But the level 1 Mai gains an additional 1k on your turn, so it's a 5,500 base. With the Climax, it'll attack in at 65, which on attack, if you have 2 or more characters, you can mill up to the top 3 cards of your deck and then salvage character level X or lower, where X is the number of characters milled. The up to part is very important. I missed that on initially playing this deck, so I was constantly just milling 3, kind of like the cigarettes combo. But you could mill 0 if you have a very small deck and just want to, salvage back a level 0 character. Perfectly good. Salvage 1, salvage 2. It just helps you control your deck state very well. The Sword Art Online Anniversary deck plays this combo on a gate, and that is a very good combo. So it's similar to this one, slightly different. The other thing that this card does do as well is gain a level. So you can work around level 1 bombs, which is nice. However, if your opponent's really greedy, they could anti-change you. I think you win out in that scenario, just based on the amount of resources, since you will have already gotten your combo off. But that is something to be aware, because it's happened to me where they've gone ahead and just straight up anti-changed the combo. But like I said, I think you as the player win out in that regards. The next card we're playing at level 1 is this Mai. I really like this card. This is a holdover from the first deck. We're playing 5 events in this deck, spoiler. And this card helps in a couple different ways. Firstly, on play, you reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a level 0 character, this card gains 3k. That makes this a 7,500 power character, which can tie 1/1s. Now, if you're playing a Climax, or it can pump power any other way, such as the Brainstorm, that gets over 1/1s at base 7,500. So that's very important to keep in mind. The other thing that this does, if you reveal a level 1 or higher card, you can draw that card, and then you discard, and this gains an additional 1k. So when you're digging for events, this card can draw them, particularly in the late game. The other thing you can do is help dig down, so that way you can Brainstorm for 5, which is nice. Another thing that this does is if you reveal a 0 and you early play, you can confirm that you're going to be early playing for 1 stock instead of 2, basically. So this card serves a lot of different functions. I've gone back and forth between playing 2 and 3 copies. I've settled on 2 because I think that that's where I want to see this card, unfortunately, just because of how memory works in the set. But I think this is very good. A lot of people slept on this card. I think they're still sleeping on it. I haven't seen very many Albuta decks, deck lists recently, but I think that that's still a card that should see play. We're playing 2 copies of this event. When you play it, it's a 1/1 event. It goes to memory. You reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a character or event, you get to add it to hand. So sometimes you whiff because you hit climaxes. What's really nice about this compared to the sword event in Adventure Time, which I don't think adds events, at least the people that I'm playing with aren't adding events, so if they've been playing that card wrong, I actually haven't read it, so pardon me if I'm incorrect in that statement. But this one does add events, so that's very good in my opinion, because we are playing the 5 events. So I do like that, and that's why I'm playing this at 2 copies instead of cutting it for different cards on top of the memory, as I've said. The other thing is when this card is in memory, during your turn, it pumps all your characters 500. So, you know, if we're trying to get over those 1/1s and we've got combo, this, you know, just helps us get there a little bit more. So, I do like this card. I don't think you play any more than 2 copies, unfortunately, but adding events made me like this a lot more than I like most of the events that have this kind of effect. And with that, we've rounded out the level 1s. Going into level 2, we're playing 1 copy of this Mai. It cannot be targeted. And when it becomes reversed, if the battle opponent is higher than the opponent's level, you can reverse that card. Just a good early play killer. You know, if you hit 2 first and the opponent has 2 2s out, you can feel this, kill their 2 2s, as long as they don't hit 2. You know, just a good utility card to help you with early plays. So, next card we're playing is this. This Mai as a 2k assist to level 3s in front. Again, we mentioned that the early play is very small, so anything that can help buff that, I think was definitely worth an addition. I'm only playing 1 copy of this. I toyed with playing 2 copies for a little while. I've dropped it back down to 1. I tend to get this and just hold it for when I early play. So that's a deck building preference, I think. Some people will play 2 just for the consistency issue of wanting this for their early plays. But for me, 1 has been fine. The other effect this has is if you have 3 or more memory, it gains the following 2 effects. At the beginning of the Climax phase, you can choose one of your characters and give a 500 power cross turn. The other effect is a startup effect. You can rest this to draw a discard. This is another reason why we want to try to get to 3 memory, just because the utility that goes on top of the 2k assist is fairly good. 500 power will just stack with everything else we're doing with the events, with the Brainstorm, and all that other stuff. So for that reason, it's fine. Otherwise, 500 power at level 2 is pretty negligible. But once it starts stacking, it's definitely worthwhile. And then to be able to draw a discard, to dig for climaxes, dig for other things, dig through your deck is very good. This card is an anti-change counter. It's a discard 2 anti-change counter, 2500 backup. It's fine. I mean, you use it for the backup. The anti-change effect is not the strongest effect, but it's better than not having an anti-change effect. So that's why we are playing it. And, I don't think Albuta's ever gotten another anti-change. So this is what we have to work with. So that's why we're playing it. It's also so obviously it was a consideration for this deck. That ends level 2. It's pretty standard because mostly what we're going to be trying to do at 2 is play these Coyotes. It's a 4 or more character early play. On play, it heals. And when it comes into play, you reveal the top card of your deck. If it is a level 1 or lower, you add it to stock. The easiest early play condition is the 4 or more condition. And being able to play this out as a 3-1 and get the heal just allows you to stay at level 2 fairly consistently. I'm only playing 3 copies just because of preference choices for the early game. I was playing 4 for a long while. I think my older deck had 4 in it, but I dropped it to 3. I think the slot where the 2-1 went in would be the 4th one personally. But it's just really strong. And it will, allow you to just keep healing down, particularly if you can recur them. Which is moderately hard to do in this deck, I understand. But you do have doors. So when the opponent kills them because they're so small, if you can just hit a door, you can get 1 right back and then just play it next turn, heal, hopefully for 1, and just keep looping. So, very strong card. Definitely should be in any deck that's Albuta and in red. The next card that I'm playing 2 copies of is the TD. 2 copies is probably a little excessive. I just really like this card. A, the art, and B, I consider this my secondary finisher. So when I go to finish a game, typically I have 2 of my finisher and 1 of these on the board. So that's why I've chosen to play 2. On play, you get to look at up to X cards, which is X is the number of characters on board when this comes into play. So up to 5. Add a card to hand, rest go to grave. So if you're trying to dig for your door to finish the game, because if we don't have any climax for the climax swapper, or we need that stock, or anything else, this card allows us to go digging for that door because it's very important to have it in hand to just close out the game. And the other effect, and why I call this my secondary finisher, is that on reverse of the battle opponent, you can pay 2, discard 2 to burn 5. If you've set your turn where you're playing 2 to 3 of the Climax combo and you're burning for 1 a bunch, sometimes you're able to take all the climaxes out of the opponent's deck and the burn 5 sticks and you just close out the game. I've been there a couple times, and that is why I highly value this and put it at 2. It's probably just waifu bias, to be honest. 1 is probably an entirely valid choice. It's just personal preference. I have it at 2. This is the My Climax combo. I'm going to also show you the 3 copies of the event that can pull it from memory and the door that it combos with. So these are the last cards for the deck tech. So we're playing 4 copies. Like I said, you send probably about 2 of these to memory over the course of the game. With the Rize, you probably want to keep 2 in the deck so that way you can get them easier, because you can only pull it from memory with the 3-1 Sakta event. So we'll just go through what these cards do real quick. On play from hand or memory, the 3-2 Mai mills the top 2 cards of your deck, and it'll burn the opponent for X, where X is the level number of level 2 or higher cards milled this way. Sending the cards that we've talked about to memory, the 1-1 event, the drop salvage, not so much this card because you want to mill 2 or higher, will help you hit that a little better. It's also why we're a little heavy on the 2 to 3 side, in my opinion. I think we're playing 12 cards level 2 or higher, maybe 14 if I remember correctly. But, 3 events are being played. A to grab, B for that burn consistency. Climax combo is on attack burn 1. And then when this card becomes front attacked, it goes to memory. So it will get around reverse combos. If your opponent needs to reverse you, this card says can't do it and hops to memory, and you'll save yourself there, which is very strong. This card also has 3 soul. So if you're shooting for small damage to ping your opponent out with the door, if you've already pinged them from the mills, ping them from the attack, and then side them for 1, you get a whole lot of very small damage if you're just trying to whittle the opponent out. So that play pattern is something to also keep in mind when you're playing this deck. The 3-1 event says that you grab the Mai for memory, put it onto the board, and it gains plus 5k power for the turn. So this will allow you to get over pretty much anything on the opponent board. So if you're just wanting to swing out for the 3 or the 4, whether you have combo or not, it will definitely get over what the opponent has placed on the board. Typically, I find that if the opponent is 3-0 or higher, sometimes you get lucky around 2-5, 2-4, but the opponent will probably die to this combo if you go 2 or 3 of the Mais or 2 and the burn 5. It just tends to get there. Too many instances of damage for the opponent to cancel everything. So that's my Albuta deck. Updated to the new set. I want to thank everyone for sticking through the video. Hopefully we'll get these out more timely every month. Stay tuned for the exciting information. I think we're going to have a slide at the end of this video, which will give a little clue of what's going on. But hopefully we'll have more videos soon, as I guess we'll just say we're partnering with a local shop that does Weiss, trying to get more content out. So if you want to check out their store, it should be in the description. If not, it'll be on a slide here at the end of this video. And yeah, they've been really good for us, and we get a lot of things through them. So yeah, check it out, and thank you all for watching. We'll catch you in the next video.